Namaste and welcome to today's episode. Today is World Health Day. Now, this pandemic, if it has taught us anything, then I think it will be that it has brought our awareness back to getting healthy. People are talking about health, people are concerned about health, people are taking measures to get healthy. Now, the big question that a lot of people will have is how to get healthy. With so much of information in the world, there's so much of info on the social media, everybody talking about eat this, do this challenge, do this cleanse. It gets overwhelming and we get confused. Sometimes a lot of people that we follow give a conflicting information and we get confused on what to do and what not to do. Now, if you also are in those category where you don't know what is to be done and you want to get healthy, I think this video is for you. Now, how to get healthy? There are two things. One is modern world has definitely, there's a lot of boon in the modern medicine. It has helped to increase our lifespan. People are living longer. They are living for an age which is higher than what the other generation did. But what we really need is either should it be increased lifespan or should it be increased health span? When I say health span means we live longer and we live disease free. We live with a high energy. We live without any pain, any inflammation, any impairment in a body. If that is something that you are looking to and want to restart and look at the starting point, I think this video will definitely help you. Now, when you're looking at increasing your health span, you want that you live longer, you don't have disease, then you have physical wellness, you have mental wellness, emotional wellness, you have vitality, you have free energy, and with this, what you would want to do is you would want to strengthen your mental health, you want to strengthen your gut health, you want to improve your hormonal health, and you want to live with all the organs that are working, functioning fine, doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. Now, if you look at modern issues, the modern lifestyle disease that we have seen, there are four major categories of issues that we can talk about. Number one, cardiovascular disease. Heart strokes, heart failures. It's on a rise. Now we see a lot of people getting heart stroke at a very early age, in the mid-20s, in the early 20s. Second set is cerebrovascular disease, things like impaired blood supply, flow of blood not being there to organs, leading to paralysis and other issues. Third is cancer. Cancer is a lifestyle disease these days. A lot of people are being diagnosed and it is increasing. And the fourth is neurodegenerative disease which impacts our neurons, which impacts our thinking ability and ability to respond and react. So something like Alzheimer, Parkinson's, dementia. Now, if you look at these four big buckets, there are four factors around it. First is the genes. A lot of people have their genes and they get this issue from their genetic makeup. But that's very small quantity. The major bucket is your environment, means your lifestyle, the way you are exposed to chemicals, what is your stress level, how is your physical activity, and the fourth one is your diet. I would not shy away from saying that you are what you eat. Obviously, it is more than that, but the base is what you eat is what you become. Now, these are the four big issues that people are saying. But if you try to look at what is the root cause or what is the underlying cause for these four big issues. First, elevated blood sugar. If you have elevated blood sugar, you'll have either of the four problems. Second is elevated blood pressure. Third is abdominal obesity. Visceral fat, because fat getting accumulated and fat stores toxins. So the more fat you have, the more toxin exposure you'll have in your body. Cholesterol challenges. Cholesterol challenges coming not from a dietary intake, but from an impaired liver function. Poor digestive health. I think the way modern food has been developed, it looks like food, but it is not real food. A lot of colors, additive, preservatives. It is leading to poor digestive health, and on top of it, our ability to eat, the way we eat, the way we mix, the way we have too much of ingredients in a food, it is leading to a lot of wrong food combination, leading to poor digestive health. Lack of energy, because of a sedentary lifestyle. Imbalance of acidic and alkaline in a body. We would want our body to be more alkaline, but what is happening is modern lifestyle is making it more acidic. And mood swings and anxiety. Okay. So these are the underlying causes which leads to these four big issues. Now, if you're able to fix these underlying causes, you will be able to ensure that you are safe, guarded from these four disease or issues in the long run. But now if you look at what is happening, fast forward to the modern world, what is happening in the modern world, okay? A lot of people are giving you a lot of information. A lot of people are talking about do this, take fenugreek, take ajwain, take this powder, take this boosters. But lot of information that you're getting is either conflicting or confusing or contradictory. Okay, one is saying to eat regular meals every 2 hours. Someone is saying don't eat meals. Someone is saying start your day with water. Somebody says don't do that. Somebody says eat superfoods, soak your nuts. Somebody says have sauteed nuts. So there's a lot of confusion around it. If you want to focus on, if your aim is to focus on health, I think following factors is something that you should focus and make a note of it and try to focus on this. One is your gut health. Okay, how to improve your gut health. Second is ensure that your liver is clean and is functioning properly, because that's an organ for detoxification. Third is you rejuvenate your immune system. Okay, I said rejuvenate. I did not say that you build your immune system, because you cannot build your immune system. You already have an immune system, an innate immune system and an adaptive immune system, and that is the reason we are surviving and we are talking and we are listening to each other today, because our immune system is fighting for us. But what it needs is, it needs a rejuvenation. It needs to be refreshed. Okay, you need to ensure that your cellular energy is improved. That means the food that you're eating is converted into energy into micronutrients, and that goes inside the cell and converts that into energy. Look at balancing your hormone health. Ensure that your lifestyle is not sedentary. You're moving, you're physically active, you're looking at de-stressing yourself, you're placing a lot of importance on relationship, looking a lot of focus on spirituality, because that helps when you eat whatever you eat. Look at a lifestyle which is as close to nature, one, which is seasonal and which is local for you. That does not mean that you don't eat superfoods which are not grown, but try and emphasize food which is as per season. Mango season has not started. Don't delve into mangoes right now. Watermelon season is still not there. Don't delve into them right now, because if you eat something which is out of season, the body is not in harmony. Okay? Even if mangoes are good, even if watermelons are good for you. Now the big question that I'm getting overwhelmed listening to what you said, but the big question is where to begin. What can I do? Okay, how can I simplify my health? If that is the question, if you have heard of something known as 80-20 principle of Pareto's law, which says 20% of your effort gives 80% of your results. So that means if I have to do 100 things in my life to get healthy, I would focus on those 20 things that can get me 80% of the result. And this holds true for anything. You go to a supermarket, 80% of the sales comes from 20% of the SKUs that they stock, but still they have 5,000, 10,000 different SKUs. Okay. Similarly, you need only 20% of focus to get that 80% of result. Now, what is that 20%? There are only two things that you have to do. Okay. These are two hormones that you need to look at managing, and managing it beautifully well. Okay. First one is insulin, and the second one is cortisol. Now, cortisol, a lot of people say it's a stress hormone. I beg to differ on that, because cortisol is released by your body in response to your stress, so that you can manage that stress. So if something is coming to help you manage it, then it cannot be a stress hormone. It is an anti-stress hormone. This is the way you start to think. And anything that your body is producing is not bad. That means insulin is not bad for you. Cortisol is not bad for you. If you don't have cortisol, you will never wake up from your sleep. If you don't have cortisol, you will never be able to fight an oncoming threat. You will not be able to respond and react to a situation. So cortisol is needed for you. The only problem is if you have elevated number of or amount of insulin and cortisol in your body more than what is needed. Since these are hormones, and hormones are needed in very small quantity because they are very, very, very potent, you do not want them to be out of range, either too high or too low. Now, what does insulin does? Now, insulin is released in response to food that we eat through our pancreas. What it does is it transports sugar, which is in the blood, into the cells. Okay, so that your cells have enough food to generate energy. And we talked about cellular energy. We talked about how to generate more energy, why it is needed. What it also does is it stores excess sugar by converting it into fat, and the excess fat that you have in your diet by storing them as fat. Okay, and you need insulin for it. So if that does not happen, your body will become very, very, very acidic, very toxic, because anything in blood makes your blood more acidic. Sugar in blood is acidic, and that is the reason you need insulin. The problem is when you have too much of insulin coming in, because you are giving and you're eating a lot of food which are spiking your insulin. Okay. Second is cortisol. Now, cortisol is needed to increase your heart and blood pressure because you want to survive a situation. You want to respond to a threat. You want to fight, you want to flight, or you want to freeze. So that is why cortisol is needed. Cortisol comes, looks at situation, handles it, reduces that inflammation, and the body comes to normal. But if cortisol is released too frequently, means your inflammation is high, your stress is high, and you have elevated cortisol all the time, eventually it will lead to impaired digestion. So if your life is in danger, you will not digest food. That's given, right? The body will not digest food because the body wants you to survive. So it impairs digestion. It impairs your immune system. Okay. Now, cortisol is high early morning when you wake up. Okay. And you know that cortisol impairs your digestion. So this means you do not want to eat when you wake up, because your cortisol is high and you're eating, your digestion would be weak. So the myth of that upon waking up you need to eat something to get energy, that's false. You already have energy if your cortisol is optimal. It also reduces your prefrontal cortex ability, means your ability to take decisions, right decisions, and respond. And that is the reason a lot of times that the steps that you take when you are stressed are wrong step. Okay. It impairs your insulin sensitivity. So if your cortisol is high, your insulin sensitivity, means your body's ability to release insulin, and insulin's ability to capture the glucose and push it inside the cell will get impaired if your cortisol remains high. Okay, so both cortisol and insulin are somehow related to each other, and it also increases your blood sugar more than what you can eat in a day if you just eat sugar. Okay, so cortisol can elevate your blood sugar in a much higher way. So if your blood sugar is higher, you will have the 4 big diseases that we talk about: cardiovascular, cerebrovascular, neurodegenerative, and cancer. So what you need to do is look at a diet which is low on glycemic load, means it does not spike your insulin levels. Stop food grazing that I've been telling all this while. You do not have to eat every 2 hours or 3 hours. Seeds and nuts should not be a snack item, can be a part of a main meal. Okay. Look at reducing your stress. Move towards more of deep breathing, connecting with the nature, earthing, spirituality, have a gratitude, affirmations, anything that brings your stress down. Okay, do that. Don't live in the soup that stress is there. Yes, it is there, but what are you doing to fix it? If you can't fix it, you can't get healed. That's period. You can't change about anything about it. So these are the 2 things that I would want you to focus upon. Now, how to control insulin, how to control cortisol, very simple things. Something that we are practicing in our group is we start a day with a time restricted eating of 12 to 16 hours of fast. Then we ensure that we are drinking at least 2 to 3 liters of water. We are ensuring that we break our fast with some lemon water. All this is making our body more alkaline. It is ensuring that our cellular energy is high. It is improving our gut health. It is reducing our blood sugar. It is reducing our blood pressure. Next week, we'll add more activities to it so that we get more aligned to our biological clock and more aligned to our nature. So this is what my advice for all of you on this World Health Day would be, that if you want to focus on 2 things to begin to get 80% of your health results, focus on your insulin and cortisol level. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and we'll catch up soon. Namaste.